So today I'm going to talk about our 4 projects and why I think we're a very exciting new story in Nevada. So we'll get right to it. My lawyers are happy that I updated this recently. So why invest in Ridgeline Minerals? It is a pretty crowded space in the junior market right now. And I like to think that we kind of stand apart a little bit. We're doing things differently as a company right from the ground up. So one of the core things is I co-founded the company in 2018 alongside the owner of a drilling company. So the whole purpose behind that was, discoveries are made at the drill bit, and we want to be able to drill some of these great targets that we've identified in Nevada for cheaper than anybody else. So, I was able to negotiate a 50,000 foot drill contract at a 60% discount to market rate at the founding equity level with my partner. And what that's allowed us to do is aggressively advance our projects. We've raised $10 million since our seed round in 2019 at progressively higher valuations. And we've been able to maintain a very tight share structure throughout that whole process. So the drilling contract is working. We've recently announced a new shallow oxide discovery at our Salina project, which I'll get into in a little bit here. It's looking very exciting for us. And we've built out a really great team around our core technical team. So we have over decades of experience on our team in Nevada, found over 20 million ounces of gold collectively as a team. Management owns 17%. I'm the largest individual shareholder at just under 8%. I didn't take a salary for the first 14 months of the company. I put 150,000 cash of my own money into every financing we've ever done. So I am very motivated to make this a success, and so is the rest of my team. So we own one of the largest land packages in Nevada at 125 square kilometers. And as everyone's very well aware, Nevada is a top-ranked jurisdiction. New discoveries in Nevada tend to guarantee a premium to valuations as well. So we're excited with what we're advancing. From a capital structure perspective, we have 48 million shares outstanding. As I mentioned, I'm the largest individual shareholder at just under 8%. We have great public company involvement. 12% of our owners our shareholders are institutions, which include Paul Stevens, Commodity Capital, Extract Capital. So some really great institutions backing us. I believe we have 12 of them now. And so we have 3.5 million at the bank at the end of 2020 and a fully diluted share count of 58 million shares. So we believe that we are, have a lot of torque left to this stock. We traded as high as 74 cents in 2020, and we've recently pulled back. So we think that we're a pretty exciting opportunity right now. So we have 4 projects on the Carlin and Battle Mountain trends. So what I want to point out about those 2 trends, there's about 200 million ounces of past production and current reserves and resources across these 2 trends. Now, that's one of the greatest concentrations of gold on the planet. We have core land positions in both. So the Carlin East and Bell Creek are up in the North Carlin trend. Our Swift project is directly adjacent to the Pipeline mine, which is over a 20 million ounce resource last time we checked. And our Salina project is down in the South Carlin trend. That's our new silver oxide shallow discovery. And we're getting really excited because, we have a very diversified portfolio. We are not reliant on any one project to be successful, but success at any one project can be a real game changer for our company. So I'm going to walk you through Salina first. That's our new discovery. And then we're going to walk through the other projects and the upside that we think we have there. So Salina is 35 square kilometers. It's an oxide open pit silver gold target. We did over 3,200 meters of drilling in 2020, which included 22 drill holes, multiple trenches as well. You could say our discovery hole was 36.6 meters at 90 grams per ton silver equivalent. And this is shallow oxide. So if we look to this map here, just to give you some perspective, we're very close. We're about 12 kilometers from the Bald Mountain mine owned by Kinross Gold. And if you look over to the right here, you can see our project. We've really only focused on about 10% of the project area. That's been our main focus so far. It's a district scale project in its own right at 35 square kilometers. And what you see here is arsenic contours and our drill holes. So we've really been focusing on every time we drill an arsenic plume, if you want to call it that, we're hitting some pretty exciting mineralization. So we have targets in 2021 that will expand. You could say our discovery area kind of looks like this in red. And then outside of that to the west and up to the north, we'll be drilling additional targets in 2021 to prove that this thing can grow considerably. So if we look to cross section AA prime, here's what this looks like. So we've trenched up to over here, 38 meters of 115 grams per ton silver equivalent at surface. We've done early stage metallurgical work, suggests that gold is leaching at around 80%. And silver at about 74. So that we've already proven this thing is amenable to heap leach processing. The next step is showing it can grow. and doing additional metallurgical work to kind of tune in on what this could look like. But there's some pretty exceptional continuity all the way down dip as we've drilled. Now we've drilled over a kilometer of strike now, proving this thing continues at depth. We have assays pending on hole 22, which you can see right here, which hit similar looking mineralization at the exact same target we were looking for. So we've had some pretty impressive intercepts, 33 meters of 50 grams silver equivalent, 35 of 84. As I mentioned, trenching at surface up to 50 meters of 70 grams silver as well. So, we're very excited about what this could look like, and we have additional targets to test in 2021. So we'll be getting back on drilling probably in the spring sometime, probably around April, early April. And we'll be doing additional drilling to prove that we can expand the system both out in this direction and up to the north along strike. So we'll go to the 600 meters to the north. I think that's an important thing to point out, or to the south, 600 meters south in BB prime. This is our next step out. So we're drilling wide spaced scout holes here, and they keep on hitting. And I think that shows the scale of this system. It's still early days, but we're really excited about how it's coming together. So again, we'd released hole 21, 36 meters and 90 grams. We have additional targets that are offset as well as up higher as well. So now I'm going to go into our Bell Creek target. This is a very strategic land position for us. It's just 5 square kilometers, but it's right in the core of the Carlin Trend. This is what this looks like. So on the right-hand side, you have our Carlin East project. We actually split Bell Creek and Carlin East earlier this year because they represent 2 different opportunities. And so we wanted to highlight that. Right now, or I guess you could say in 2020, Barrick was drilling right here, the sinkhole Breccia target. That was only 250 meters off the edge of our property. So they're drilling deep holes. They have an existing resource at the Ren deposit, which I believe they're trying to get into production, is what we're hearing. And, there's some significant intercepts, historic intercepts in the area. The 24 zone, which I'm highlighting here, the discovery hole at the 24 zone was 42.7 meters at 32 grams per ton. They're now drilling 200 meters off the edge of our property, and we own 100% of it. So any success that Barrick has at these drilling areas would be very exciting change for the company. So this is a bit like a lottery ticket, you could say. We're currently waiting and seeing how things go with Barrick, and then we'll decide how to advance this project after that. Moving on to Carlin East, which is directly adjacent to our Bell Creek project. This is a much bigger land package. It's 35 square kilometers, and it's on strike of the Leeville mine, which is right here. So we're only about 3 kilometers north of the Leeville mine. And Barrick has recently been drilling, or Nevada Gold Mines, I apologize, has recently been drilling. They've made a new discovery north of the resource at Leeville, and that discovery hole was 21.3 meters of 35 grams per ton. So just put that in perspective. These are world-class intercepts that are being drilled. In the case of Bell Creek, we're still waiting to hear what they hit. And at North Leeville, they've got world-class intercepts out along the same fault zone that cuts directly across our project. There's only been 1 drill hole, which was drilled by us, and we lost that hole above the target zone in 2019. So we're going to go back in 2021. We're going to drill a fence of holes across this crash zone target area, and we're going to try to recreate some of the success that Nevada Gold Mines is already having along the same fault zone. So our last project is Swift, and this is actually one of my favorite projects from a technical perspective. It is 50 square kilometers, high-grade underground gold target on the Battle Mountain Trend. And if you look here, just for some perspective, our Swift project is here in white on the image on the right, and you have about 34.8 million ounces of current reserves, which at resource and reserves between the Pipeline, Cortez Hills, and the Gold Rush deposits. So that is now a consolidated operation with Nevada Gold Mines, which is a joint venture between Barrick and Newmont. And what's a really important thing to point out is all of these deposits are hosted along the this northwest trend, my line. Every time you see a fault zone cutting across that northwest trend, you end up with a 20 million ounce gold mine. Another important thing to point out, every one of these 20 million ounce gold mines has a little itty bitty surface open pit that was usually mined 20 years before the big discovery was made. Well, the next fault block after Pipeline cuts across our project. We have the Elder Creek mine, which is a historic mine that was mined in the 1990s, open pit. No one has done any drilling in and around this area for the last 30 years. So we're the first group to come in. We consolidated the land package, and now what we're focusing on is really systematic exploration of this project. With 50 square kilometers, there's a lot of room to miss, which means we need to do good geology and really focus in on the highest priority targets. What we did prove this year with our drilling is we have the same host rocks that host all of these mines we have the same host rocks. So we've hit the Wenban and the Roberts Mountain Formation, which are the two primary hosts. And that's a huge development for the project. It means we have the right rocks, they're on the right location, and the next step is just vectoring in with good geology. So I'm going to show you a cross section that cuts right across my red line right there. It shows our drilling this year. And this is what that looks like. So there's a historic, one of the reasons I like this project, there was a historic drill intercept, which is right here in 99.5A. This was drilled in the 1990s. It's the only hole in this area that actually tested target rocks, and it hit 17 meters of 0.7 grams gold. On the other side of our property, you have the Elder Creek mine, which you saw there. That's right on the gold anticline target. There has never been a drill hole in our area to test underneath that gold mine. So what we did first is we wanted to come in and we kind of wanted to bridge the gap between known mineralization and the known gold mine at Elder Creek. So we drilled right between the two on a great geochemical target. We hit the Wenban Formation. That's the first time it's ever been hit on the project, which was a huge development. And that rock was extremely altered, mineralized. We had narrow intercepts of high grade, up to 0.2 meters of 860 grams silver, 0.2 gold. So is that a discovery? No, not yet. But it does show that the system can produce grade, and we're very excited to advance it next year. One thing to point out, we've hit this big intrusive right here. That's the heat source or the engine for the whole gold system. If you go to on one side of it, 1.5 kilometers away, you're getting into a true gold system right here. We want to follow up on that next year. You go 2 kilometers in this direction, you have an existing gold mine at surface and an untested target at depth. So we're seeing a very clear zonation pattern. You want to be 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers away from the core of that heat system, and you should be getting into a gold system. So we're excited to be testing that this year. We're going to be putting multiple fences down on both target areas, and we think it's going to be an exciting year for us. So from an upside potential, what are we looking at as a company? We already have a shallow oxide gold discovery, silver gold discovery at Salina. We think it can grow considerably. And I think what's really important about this discovery at Salina is it really kind of supports our systematic approach to exploration. We've been doing this, as a private company, we advanced all of our projects, collected the data, put these geologic stories together. Now we're going to go out and we're drilling these projects. So we've transitioned from an explorer. We're now focused on a pure discovery. We've collected the data. All that's left is to test multiple targets across all of our portfolio and see what floats to the top. So at Swift, we've now confirmed a district scale exploration target. We've intersected the Wenban Formation, which is the host rock that hosts over 50 million ounces in the district and 38 million ounces that are still in reserves. So, and then on top of it, we have these strategic land positions at Bell Creek and Carlin East on the Carlin Trend. Any more success as Barrick continues to drill closer and closer to our boundary only makes our projects that much more valuable. So we're being very selective about how we advance it. We're letting them continue to de-risk those assets for us. And when the time's right, we'll be putting holes on that as well. So we have an aggressive 2021 planned. We're going to be advancing multiple projects. And I think it's going to be an exciting year for the company.
Chad, let's talk about Salina. First of all, when I first started talking to you about, this company that you were putting together or that you had been putting together, Salina wasn't really an asset that we talked about much. We talked about the other assets more. But of course, it has catapulted to almost the front of the list now. And you've had a very stepwise approach there in terms of so can you talk about how you approached the exploration at Salina and why you approached it that way, and what position that puts you in terms of understanding the asset now?
Yeah, I think when we first when I pitched it to you the first time around, Salina was like it never hurts to have an oxide play in your portfolio, right? And
yeah.
The good thing about exploration is you get surprised sometimes. So that's what Salina's done. So we were focusing on it as a gold project, and we kept on drilling and trenching, and we were getting these incredible, widespread silver results with a gold kicker, but we were focused on it from a gold perspective. So we kept on being like, man, this would be a heck of a gold deposit if it wasn't for all this silver. And one of our directors was like, I'm struggling to see the issue here. So we kind of refocused Salina as a silver dominant deposit, and suddenly the continuity is really looking incredible. We do, at all of our projects, we collect all the baseline data first, It's a systematic approach. You map it, you do the geophysics, you do the surface geochemistry, and only then do you advance it. It's all a de-risking exercise, right? You advance it to a point where, okay, am I going to put the high dollar spend into actually drilling these assets? And so in Selena's case, we drilled it. It kept on getting better every single phase of drilling. And by phase 3, we were confident in announcing what is a bona fide, grassroots discovery in Nevada. It's never had an intercept of any significance reported on it. So yeah, we're very excited about how it's coming together.
Do you want to put some of those silver, oxide silver shallow intercepts sort of in context? It's hard, I think. For silver, we're so used to talking about deep veins or high grade veins. So do you want to just try and put, silver oxide at surface in context?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you look at a silver deposit underground type of thing, and you need to have a lot of times 1,000 gram per ton silver equivalent or better, right, to make the economics make sense. What we're hitting is outcropping oxide mineralization at surface, and that completely changes the economics or the potential economics. So for us, we're hitting, on average, anywhere from 60 to 100 grams per ton silver equivalent over thick intercepts, generally 30 to 50 meters. And just to put in perspective, like the Core Rochester mine is the only silver dominant open pit operating in Nevada right now. Their life of mine head grade is 23 grams per ton silver equivalent. So we're drilling, anywhere from 2 to 3 times that grade at surface. The deposit's open. We've already defined a kilometer on strike to the west and a kilometer to the south. So I think there's considerable room to grow it.
Okay, let's shift over to Bell Creek. Again, that name of project is one that we talked about originally because you used to lump that in with Carlin East as one thing to talk about. Now you've segmented out Bell Creek because it really is interesting with its proximity to, exciting drilling by Newmont Gold or Nevada Gold Mines. Barrick Nevada Gold Mines, they don't talk much about what they're doing, but just about every geologist in Nevada. So do you want to sort of paint a bit of a picture of what your understanding might be going on over there and how that might, you're 200 meters away from the property line. That's a very short distance.
Yeah, no, we were lucky to pick that up. We actually did a deal at Swift with a local ranching family, and they said, "Hey, would you like a chunk of land beside Goldstrike?" And I said, "Yes, please. That sounds great." And so that's how we brought in. It's private ground, 100% owned by us under the lease agreement. And what's really exciting is, Barrick is now, we're under the understanding that they're actually beginning to do underground development from the Meikle deposit out to Ren. So they're putting serious money and effort behind advancing the Ren deposit, which is why they're now drilling 4,000 foot holes out in the sinkhole breccia area, is trying to expand that known resource. So, Bell Creek is one of those kind of, it really is, I called it a lottery ticket, which maybe is a little glib, but that's really what it is. Like if Barrick comes in and they have a successful drill hole there, it's pretty hard to say that mineralization isn't going to extend onto our property in some way, shape, or form. So, we're waiting patiently for them to put out results. Every quarter, they've been putting out, basic exploration results. So I think we'll see something on this next quarter, hopefully from them, and then we'll decide how to advance it from there.
Gotcha. Last question. Results, when you're doing the kind of exploration work that you're doing at Swift and Carlin East, these are deep targets. They're, you're drilling deep and blind. So do you want to just talk a bit about timeline process in the sense of setting expectations? So when people are following the story, do we expect you to hit it right away? Like, how do you frame that for people?
Well, I think the market's pretty binary, right? Either you hit or you don't, and there's not a lot of in between. But to be honest, real grassroots discoveries, and people on this panel can attest to that, they take time and they take good geologic work, right? So it took us 3 phases of drilling at Selena to make that discovery, and 22 holes. We've only drilled 2 holes that actually hit target, 3 holes total at Swift right now. We've drilled 2 holes at Carlin East. The whole goal is, every program is an attempt to de-risk that program to the next step, right? And for us, what we now know is we have at Swift, for example, we have a huge buried intrusion sitting right in the center of what is 2 known gold intercepts. There's a gold mine 2 kilometers to the east on the edge of our property, and then a known intercept 1.5 kilometers to the west. So right in the center of that is a big buried intrusion. We drilled it, and every major gold deposit in Nevada is directly associated with the margins of buried intrusions. 40, 50 million ounce gold mines like Goldstrike. So what we're seeing now is the right setup for a big deposit. Now we got to go in, do a bunch of drilling, and vector in on the higher grades.
Yeah, so it just might take some time.
Takes time, yeah.
For sure.
In the short answer, yes, it takes time.